I just hit 50 days alcohol free, and it's a video I never thought I'd be making. And I'm going to talk about the benefits and the negatives of going alcohol free. Just a bit of backstory of why I've done it. I've been meaning to for years, but I could never do it. And I've worked out from the age of about 16, I'd never gone more than 10 days without a single drink of alcohol. And I just thought that was normal. Obviously, I wasn't an alcoholic. I didn't drink every day. I wasn't shaking for a drink like Gaza. But I was a heavy binge drinker, struggled with alcoholism. I think most British lads do who drink. I've never done weed, never done the white stuff or heroin or anything like that. It's never been for me. It's just always been a drink. It's been my problem, I guess. But the reason I decided to stop drinking is because just this past year, every bad decision I made, whether that be sending someone a message, went on a night out, getting into fights, saying something I regret, was 95% or pretty much 100% the reason was because I was under the influence of alcohol or hungover. So on the 28th of September, it was actually when Wolves played Liverpool. That was my last drink. And on the 29th, on the Sunday, I was hungover. And it was a really bad hangover. I actually was with my son and I was being sick and he was copying me. And I thought, this has just got to stop. I'm going to have a break. And we're on day 50 today, and I don't regret it one bit. There's been a lot of challenges. The first few weeks I didn't tell anyone. I just did it because I just didn't want to. People being like, why? Because alcohol is the only drug that if you tell someone you're not doing it, they think you've got a problem. They're like, why are you not drinking? Is everything okay? Which is just hilarious when you think about it. But it is the case because everyone drinks and it's just normalised, isn't it, in the UK? And I just can't drink without getting blackout drunk. So even if I went up to the football, have a few drinks, go home, I'd just get blackout drunk. I'd carry on drinking on my own. And yeah, I didn't have a cut-off point. So I thought, enough's enough, let's give it a go. And the first few weeks when I was really struggling, I would use the non-alcoholic drinks, which I'd probably say Guinness is the best one, but that does help. It's like the placebo effect because you're not actually having alcohol, but you kind of feel like you are, because I can't remember the last time I went up to Wolves, who I've got a season ticket for, as people know, watch this channel, and didn't have a drink. So that was a struggle. I actually missed a few games when I stopped drinking just because I didn't trust myself not to. And I'd always drink when watching away games on a stream at home. So that's when I'd drink the non-alcoholic drinks. And I found it very tough. I've been out a few times. I've been out for a meal. That was pretty easy because just had a normal drink, not too much. But I did actually go out to a night at the darts recently, and that was the big test. So last week, so that would have been about 35, 40 days in, I drove to Wolves, watched Wolves beat Southampton, and then drove over to watch the darts. Never touched a drop of alcohol. Went with all my mates. I went with the year before. I got absolutely smashed. I didn't even remember the darts. So there's a benefit for the night. It was a struggle, but I actually remembered the darts this time. And thing is, once it gets past about 9, 10 o'clock, just looking around at everyone and my mates, you're not missing out on anything. Like a few times when I was in on Saturday nights and not doing anything and not drinking, I was getting a bit of like the fear of missing out feeling and a bit bored. But nah, once it gets past a certain point, everyone's smashed. No one remembers anything. They just do things they regret. And I saw that firsthand. And being out that night sober, although it was a struggle and I did wish at times I was drinking, it also made me think, yeah, I've made the right decision here because I do not miss this. And on Sunday, I was fresh as a daisy. And that's another thing. On weekends now, I'm not always just rough or drunk. I'm actually, Saturday and Sunday mornings, I actually know what they're like, which I can't remember the last time I could say that because I've always been rough or hungover or being sick. And I like going on walks and that now, and having kids as well. I'm not grumpy around them. So that's a massive factor, which is a massive benefit of why I don't regret not drinking. My initial aim was to do 100 days, so I'd get to January the 6th, try and get through Christmas without drinking. At the halfway point now, 50 days, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back. Or already at this early stage, I'm much healthier. I feel like I've got clearer skin. I'm sleeping a lot better. Just in general, all-round health and all-round mentally, my mood throughout the whole week is just way better. On Mondays, I don't feel like shit and dreading work Sunday night. Just everything's a benefit, apart from, there's no doubt about it, a night out with alcohol is a much better night out. That can't be said, but like I said, I had no cut-off point, and I think it was best that I actually stopped, and I'm glad I did. It's been so hard. It's been the hardest thing I've ever done. I definitely had a slight problem with drink. It's not, I think a lot of people have, but they just don't like to admit it. And when you tell people you're not drinking, they kind of look at you, and I think it kind of like, it's like you're putting a mirror up to them, and they're like, whoa, like they've probably thought about doing the same. And yeah, because drink is probably the biggest killer in the UK in terms of a drug, and it's legal. But I don't want to preach. Like, people can have a drink. There's a lot of my mates who can perfectly handle their drink, and like they haven't got a problem. And I don't want to be that preacher, because when I was drinking, I hated people who preach to people to stop drinking. So I don't want to become one of them. This is not a preaching video. Do what you want. I just thought I'd share what I've learned and my benefits. A couple of people I've watched to help me was Chris Williamson, a big podcaster. He's got a video, which I'll link below, called 1000 Days Without Drinking. He sums up so much of it so well. And I'm only 50 days in, I agree with a lot of it. And Dapper Laughs. Didn't think I'd be saying that about him, but he's a comedian. He used to be big on Vine and Facebook back in the day. But he's got a podcast called Menace to Sobriety. He's been sober 2 years. He'd ruined his life, like, you know, split up his missus, lost his house, lost everything, and was smashing the drinking, was suicidal. And I could relate, not to everything, but I could relate to a lot of what he was going through. And listening to his podcast has been very, very helpful as well. And it's still a struggle on the weekends. It's a battle every time, but I don't regret it. Yeah, so here's the next 50 days. Comment your thoughts down below. Has anyone thought about going sober? What's your experiences? As time goes on, the easier it gets and more justified I am in my decision of going alcohol-free. Thank you for watching. Back to normal service with football videos next week. Have a good weekend, everyone.